Hello and welcome to a new type of content called Fresh Serves, where instead of doing the deep dives in a video, I will go live and go through a few characters that just don't have a lot of story behind them really, but they are cool characters anyways. And I asked for this on Twitter, and these were some of the characters that you would like to know more about. So let's go through them and see what they are about, or at least what we can find about them. And we have Hofri the ghostforge here. And I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee. I've let it stand here for way too long. Who is an interesting card. I have him here somewhere as well. I was planning on doing a deep dive on him anyways, but really never found enough to do with him really. I can show it, really not much use about that, to be honest, in the small part of the video that I've allocated for myself, because otherwise it would be in front of some of the cards. But Hofri is an interesting character on Strixhaven. Why? Because he entered into the Prismari college, so the blue-red college, and then it turned out that he really wasn't so creative. He just was about making a lot of stuff and he liked making statues, so he learned a lot about that. Of course, that's fine, but it's not really the explosive thing that the Prismari care about. So Hofri looked around and talked with some other teachers, and he found out that he really liked history as well. So why didn't he join lorehold immediately? No one knows. But right now he has the ability, which we can see in his card as well, to put spirits back onto the battlefield immediately. On Arcavios, the lorehold students all have the ability to instill spirits into the statues of these people, and the statues have to be an exact likeness of that person, otherwise it will not work. So you have to be a really impressive artist to make a statue of someone that works. But Hofri does it during the battle. So he immediately, you can see this on the art from Darken as well, that he immediately pulls in all the stones that he needs and makes a statue out of it. The ability that I was talking about is whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you exile it. So you sort of put its spirit into the statue. And then if you do create a token that's a copy of that creature, it's a spirit as well. And spirit is kind of the same as being a statue, so that's a flavor pass there. When this creature leaves the battlefield, you may return the exiled card to your graveyard, so the spirit sort of still goes to the graveyard. And he makes them stronger and faster as well. I think it's the hasty part because he makes the statues immediately. That's why they have haste. Trample, I'm not sure. Maybe he makes them really well and they become really strong, and then that's why they trample over. But yeah, that's really what Hofri is about. He is a Prismari student, or was one. So he's really creative. He really embodies that red part of Prismari where you build a lot of stuff just because you want to build it, but he was never someone with the blue capability to change his art. He didn't really want to change his art. He wanted his art to be exactly as what he saw. So he could remake statues really well, but he would always make it exactly after the person he was making the art from. And Prismari is just a different kind of art where you need to make something new, you need to make something different and explosive, and Hofri wasn't really about that. So you can see the other parts of red as well, and I think that's interesting too. And Hofri is the first card that does have a little bit of story. It's not much. He features in a story with Quintorius, where Quintorius wants to find his lost city. He has just started his, here we have Quintorius by the way. He just started this mentorship with his spirit friend, and yeah, he he wanted to look for it. We can see here Quintorius is a really good guy. He wants to find spirits and let them tell their story. Here we have him again. I think that's nice to look at. So here we have Asterion is the spirit that Quintorius is being mentored by, or is the mentor of. I don't know really how this works. But Asterion asks, Quint, are you ready? And Quint answers, what if we get caught? Quint couldn't help but imagine his parents' faces if he returned home in shame. Again. Last time it had cost them a useless suit of armor and weapons. This time it would arguably be worse. They'd lose any notion that Quint had a destiny outside of herding sheep. So the people, the elephant people of Arcavios, they're looked down upon and no one really likes them. So they are sort of exiled from cities, and yeah, it's a really sad story about that. But yeah, Quintorius has gotten the chance to get into Strixhaven, into the school, and he's really the only elephant there, which is a cool thing that he got there. But now he is really afraid that he has to go back, and the historian tells him to not think that way. Life is about risk, he says. Let's go. Quintorius walks after them, and then when he is getting to the exploration, hofri walks up to him and asks, Quintorius, why are you not back at campus? And Quintorius really can't really say anything for himself, so hofri goes on, explain yourself. Hofri had gained acclaim at Strixhaven for rousing spirits of the dead, even without a material focus like a statue, like I said. How else could he accomplish that without having keen insight into others? So we can see that Hofri can also see these details about people before he turns them into spirit statues. And Quintorius can't really lie, he's really bad at that, so he doesn't really get out of there. So Hofri asks, why don't you join us by the fire, stay for a while, have some tea, then you can get your toolkit and return home. So I think that is interesting because, like I said, elephants are really shunned in this world, and Hofri is not about that. He says, hey, don't worry, you can have tea with us and then you can go home safely. So he really cares about him anyways. Quintorius opened his mouth to refuse, but then a quiet night with some of Strixhaven's most learned scholars. Most students would kill to have that kind of opportunity, so we can see how much respect Hofri really has in the school. These professors were active practitioners, not like the fat retired generals at Rundlestrom. So Rundlestrom is the military base of Arcavios. There has not really been much war going on lately, but Rundlestrom has these generals, and Quintorius got in there first before he came to lorehold. So Quintorius wanted to take the chance, but on the other hand, if there was a possibility that Centaur, the old city of the elephants, was right under their feet, Quintorius wanted to be the one to find it. He thought about how Costambul dismissed him, other teacher, and then imagined his face if he found out that Quintorius Kant was the one responsible for returning Centaur to the Loxodon people. Quintorius says, I should be getting back. I appreciate the offer. I think is what he wants to say. It stops there. And Hofri says, this isn't about the tools, is it? How are things with your mentor coming? Still a disappointment? You remember Siu Logma, right? Siu Logma of Valdrashin was not a name any lorehold student could forget. In life, she had been a celebrated scholar responsible for some of the most revered illuminated histories, including Ichor and Iron, dialogues from the Blood Age, a required text in Dean Plark, so the Chaos part of Dean of Lorehold, In death, she was, among other things, Hofri's assigned mentor back when he was a young lorehold student. So interesting, we might see Siu Lokma later as a character, I don't think so, but they were the mentor of Hofri. We didn't see eye to eye ever, is what Hofri says. What did she say about me? Oh yes, I was informed that you had artistic experience, so that's the prismari part. But what I got was a hopeless dullard who besmirches the entire pursuit of creativity. So he was more dull than the mentor expected. I wish nothing but ill fates for you and your distant kin. All because I couldn't tell mauve from turquoise. So so he had a harsh mentor, and apparently they had to draw together. Those are very different colors, is what Quintorius says. And Hofri says, indeed, will you be going back to campus? Wanted to charm Quintorius with this story. I think so. You know you can talk to me anytime. So many think they're alone. I know I did. So Hofri was alone once. Hofri nodded and proceeded back toward the fire. If Quint had any conventional mentor at Strixhaven, Hofri would have been it. How was it that someone not much older than Quint had much more wisdom than a spirit who had existed for hundreds of years? Quint finished gathering up his belongings, only to turn around and see Astorian again, waving his hand from behind a patch of shrubs. And they take them on an adventure together. And then we see Hofri never again. So that was it for his contribution to any kind of story at all. I think that we can really see that Hofri is a kind dude